Hello everyone, Simon Jacobson here for another episode of Meaningful Live. What the stars say about you. Virgo. This program is dedicated by Shelia Brantley in loving memory of Gloria Berman Klein. So in our ongoing monthly series, What the Stars Say About You, let's talk about Virgo. The Hebrew for Virgo is Basula or Betula, which means virgin. And it corresponds to the Hebrew month of Elul, which is the last of the solar months, meaning the month that precedes the high holiday season, beginning with Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the New Year. And there's some fascinating lessons we can learn about love from this month that, of course, radiates and is more dominant and than the rest of the year. So even though love is something that we all need all the time, like oxygen, and yet there are months and there are times in the year when we'll call it the channels are open, wider, less filters, less layers, as the mystics like to put it. And this is a month like that. But why? Why this month of all months? So the word Elul in Hebrew is an interesting word. It's an acronym that's based on a verse in the book, the Song of Songs, which states the following. Beautiful, beautiful poetic acronym. So of course the Song of Songs is a romantic narrative between two beloved ones. So the expression is Elul, 4 letters in Hebrew, Aleph, Lamed, Vav, Lamed, Ani l'doidi v'doidi li. I am to my beloved, and my beloved is to me. Initially sounds very nice. It's poetic, it's romantic, but there's a lot more that meets the eye in what true love is all about. One of those most elusive of experiences. We all need love, but very few of us know how to find healthy, sustainable love. So books have been written about it, poems have been written, songs. I don't know if there's a topic more than a topic that has been more written about than love. And as the cynics like to remind us, love continues to dominate bestseller lists because it doesn't work. If it worked, you wouldn't need to have another book. But the fact is, it still remains elusive. You can't live with it. You can't live without it. What is the secret to love? What is the secret to love? And I wish I could say it's just pressing a certain button or taking a magic pill, but we all know it's not that simple. So we're going to talk about that. Love, and in this context, Virgo, which refers to the purest of all loves, is like, the first time you fall in love, there's something about it that is impossible to replicate. The innocence, the adventure, the free abandon, just the rush, excitement, enthusiasm. I mean, so much, not everything can be expressed in words even, but we all know what it's like. Unfortunately, as time passes, love comes and then people get disappointed, promises are broken, dreams are shattered, betrayals, losses, all the different things that happen to us, and we get jaded. So this month is coming to tell us we can renew our belief in love. But to do that, we need to understand what it is. As I said, we all need it. In the Hebrew, the mystics explain that the word for love, av, is the same as the word for echad, one, unity. So it's really about connection, about attachment. That is more necessary to the human being than anything else in existence. I know we need oxygen, we need water, we need food, we need sleep, we need many, many things. But attachment is the thing that we get at the earliest stage in our lives. From the moment of conception, through obviously the entire gestation, pregnancy process, what was the most dominant thing for a fetus as it's developing in its mother's womb is attachment. It's connected with the umbilical cord to its mother, like an extension, being fed through that lifeline. Everything it needs. Complete, total, absolute nurturing without any supplements needed. Total, like being totally underwater, protected, sheltered, nurtured, physically, and definitely spiritually, psychologically, emotionally. I mean, science doesn't have all the tools to even figure out what kind of impact that has. But for 9 months. And interestingly, unless a mother is truly very abusive, even if the mother is in a bad mood, or whatever she's going through, that pretty much the fetus, the developing embryo, is pretty much immunized from almost anything going on outside, in the outside hostile, difficult world, the anxieties of the world, the challenges, the ups and downs, and so on. Now, this were to continue in a new child's born after birth, even when the umbilical cord is cut. Then you'd have parents who continue to nurture the child and create to cultivate that sense of connection, attachment. Now, it shouldn't be a surprise, because we human beings, as much as we like to say we're independent, we all need that connection. What is a human being without connections? What is a human being without a companion, without a partner, without a friend, without someone that cares? If you put it in the more spiritual terms, the very essence of spirituality is experiencing a sense of belonging, a sense of I fit in, a sense of transcendence to something that's greater than ourselves. That is, beyond words, one of the most critical elements of life. So love really comes down to is more than just a sexuality, the pleasures of love, the companionship of love. It comes down to a deep need and a deep experience of a higher sense of unity, a seamlessness, you can say. It's like when you stand before something that really is beautiful and it captivates you, mesmerizes you. What you're experiencing is a oneness. Subject and object melt into one. You know the feeling. You're absorbed in reading something and listening to music in a connection. True love, when a person's at the height of their intimacy, what will they experience? Something that you don't even feel. You melt away. You completely get dissolved in the experience. That is the ultimate oneness, the ultimate form of love. And it's interesting, even though I use the word need, I would not define love as a need. Because need would mean like the need. I need to eat, I need to drink, I need a piece of bread, I need sleep, I need this. It's much more than need. It's a transcendent experience, meaning actually it's something going beyond your needs. True love is you experience something greater than yourself. And hence the expression about this month of Virgo, the idea of I am to my beloved and my beloved to me. First thing that jumps out at you is there are two entities. And there's reciprocity. It's not one person is doing the work and the other person is responding. It's call and response, cause and effect, action and reaction. In the words of another beautiful verse in the book of Proverbs, just as a face is reflected in water, one heart is reflected in another. Again, the reciprocity of things. Very often love gets caught in the trap of all our negotiations in life, which is give and take. You give me this, I'll give you something in return. I remember once counseling a couple, and I said to the guy who was very, we'll call him narcissistic, fine. And he says, I said to him, did you ever hear of unconditional love? And he said, yes, if she did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and he counted maybe a few more things, then I'd give her unconditional love. By him, unconditional love was not a concept. Why would I just give if I don't get something in return? Now, we all understand there's an element of give and take and so on, but it's not based on that. It's not based on my needs being met. That's an extension of the connection that's there. In other words, the reciprocity is not about, okay, you do this, then I'll do that. True people who truly love each other don't wait for the other person to initiate. Each one can initiate. So Anila Deidili firstly is almost like a command, I would say, an obligation if you wish. I don't like to use those words, command, obligation, especially in the context of love, but you'll see what I mean. It means it's something that behooves us. We're compelled. Initiate. I initiate. I am to my beloved, and my beloved responds. I look at the water. It reflects back to me. You want it to reflect back to you without you looking at it? I remember, it reminds me of that country boy that lived all his life in a little country house, and he never saw a mansion. He never saw a big city. He never saw, by extension, mirrors. A mirror, a simple mirror. Anyway, one day, he's traveling with his family. They come to a city. They come into a house, a nice mansion, full of mirrors. And of course, right in the foyer, as soon as you walk in, there's a big mirror. He looks in the mirror and he starts crying. And the host comes over, why are you crying? He says, there's a child looking at me in the mirror and it's making all these very sour faces at me. Why? What did I do wrong? So the host says with a smile to the child, if you smile at the child, he'll smile back at you. With a mirror. So it really comes down in life, it's what you initiate, what you generate is what you get back in return. So in real love, it's not about, okay, let me figure out what am I getting from this relationship. It's what are you giving to the relationship. That's the true meaning of love, which also introduces a concept I mentioned a number of times. The concept, it's just hard to find the English word for it, but it's bittul, B-I-T-T-U-L. It's not about you. It's about suspending yourself in face of something greater than yourself. And then you become far greater than you are. That's the interesting paradox. So the same idea is here, that love is about getting out of yourself, It's not about, I'm trying to remember the exact story. There was this person who told me they were married for a long time and then started falling apart. It fell apart in their bedroom. Their sexuality was very beautiful, sex life they had for many years, but then it became very much experimenting and he didn't feel his needs were being met. It started creating all these bedroom politics and just everything became so tense. They ended up divorcing, unfortunately. Two beautiful people, I must say. But what happened? I remember when I was speaking about it individually, and what happened, love turned into something more about my pleasure, which is great. Love should be very pleasurable. Absolutely, we all agree. But it became my pleasure was the most important thing. When in truth is the focus should be her pleasure or his pleasure instead of me. I am to my beloved. I am here to you. I initiate. I turn to you. I'd like to know what you like. And then you always get something in return. It's like watering a flower. You don't try to pull the flower out of the ground. Give me what I need. Water the flower and the flower will blossom. The flower will do what it has to do. But we live in a world of acquisitions. We live in a world of commodities. We live in a world of I press a button, I want it now. Respect for the process. Understanding that things emerge. They don't always just come when you want them to come. Things emerge and it's a process. It's something that, with all our industrialization of things, our commercialization, our technologies have created a situation almost like an illusion. Technology is good. You press a button, you can get an order from Amazon within a half hour. Or you get information immediately, instantaneously. But when it comes to the true matters of life, the eternal values of life, we'll call them, things like soul, love, truth, transcendence, happiness, these are things there are no buttons to press, and there's a process and there's an emergence. And that is the story of Virgo, the story of emergence, respecting that. And a flower is an excellent example. Flowers, we know, are symbols of Virgo, symbols of Psula, of a virgin, because of their purity. And their petals open, their petals closed, they have that mystique to them. And it's all about something that you cannot force. It's something you have to allow to emerge. So we are living in a time of crisis, let's be honest. A crisis of love, a crisis of intimacy. You see it all over. You see it in marriages, you see it outside of marriages. You see it in the level of commitment. You see the impact. Many people see commitment as a dirty word. There are people who tell me, I want a relationship without commitment. Yeah, commitment for the moment. And I ask myself, 1 second, it's like saying, I want my flowers to blossom, but I don't want to water them. I mean, what does that mean? So it's like a distortion where we think we could press those buttons because love became another commodity. It became an exercise. It became, I would say, technique. Sexuality is about technique. It's about a verb. What are we going to do? When the truth is that sexuality, love, is about a noun. It's a state of being. For women, the feminine version of it is always more of a state of being. For men, it is an action. But we need to we need to master. I don't want to say the word master. That's not a good word because we never master love. But we need to master the vulnerability, the surrender to allowing something greater to enter into our lives. And that is the story of this month. The story of I am to my beloved, and my beloved is to me. A reciprocal relationship, not dependent on reciprocity, but natural reciprocal, like the face reflected, in the water. Love. I look at the innocence and the simplicity of love in children's lives. And then you compare it, you juxtapose it to what's going on in the larger world. The distortion, it's so painful to see. Because one of the most beautiful things, that freshly fallen snow, that Virgo experience of pure, innocent love, that was without all the jaded, without the politics, without all the complexities and neurosis, without the neurosis, that simple love. Now, as adults, obviously we can't just go back to that place, but Elul gives us little taste as before we enter a new year. And a new year, as the mystics explain it, is a new energy. A new energy enters into our beings, into our psyches, into existence itself on the cosmic level. So what better way to enter into a new year is by reclaiming, revisiting our Virgo, our love. And sometimes that comes after we've been hurt. Yes, interestingly. Because sometimes we take for granted the loves we have. Things when there's a betrayal, a violation. In some way, something has been ruptured. And then we dig deeper. We often can find something we don't find initially. So all that is included in this Virgo, month of Virgo. So those born in this period of time, keep in mind that you have that, I guess, more dominant gene, if you wish, predisposition to this purity. But all of us go through this month as well, so it's really a message and lesson for all of us. And it's about finding that element of connection, that attachment, that is so nurturing to yourself and also to the other. And it ultimately comes down to is two becoming one. That's really what it is. But two becoming one. It's not about dominance or about passivity. It's not about control. It's not about an uneven relationship. It's about an honest, reciprocal circle. Two halves of one circle. Two halves of one whole. That's what the story is. I am to my beloved is to me. And when you have that, it's literally like going underwater. When you're underwater, what do you feel? You feel like you dissolve in the water. You don't feel like there's two entities. Obviously, we don't live underwater, but conceptually, psychologically, how would it feel like if you knew that you're always embraced, an internal hug, an internal embrace that accepts you unconditionally, that no matter who you are and what you're doing, no matter whether you've accomplished, whether you're in a good mood or a bad mood, you're looking good that day or not looking that great, whether you're more productive, less productive, anything, all these externals don't matter. You're just embraced unconditionally. That is the month of Virgo. That's what Elul is. And when you have that, in a way you can begin with a new slate, clean. This doesn't mean we ignore the past and we forget about the future. It means that we can dig deeper and find a place that no matter what has happened, no matter what wounds or scars we've endured, what battle injuries we may have experienced, we have a deeper place that's called love. And it's a love that connects to something far greater than we are and actually connects you to a place that's far deeper than anything. If you're able to access that, you're then reaching a place that's beyond all your life experiences. And that should be feeding you and feeding everyone around you. So is it accessible, doable? Absolutely. You have to sometimes eliminate or at least try to put at bay your cynicism or your sarcasm or your resignation or your giving up and realize that we can access that part of us. The pilot flame is burning. And in this month of Elul, Virgo, we have the power to access it. The pure, unadulterated love, connection, attachment. And it begins small. It can begin small. It begins sometimes you reach out to someone for no particular reason, not because you want something in return. Or just saying hello. I want to share a kind word. Especially for people that we deeply love. Especially with people we may have had even some type of run-in or some tensions or some falling out. Maybe this is a time where we can revisit and say, you know what? Life is short. Let me try a new way. And not get trapped in pride and vanity. Oh, I'm waiting for that person to call me. Sometimes you just initiate. Anila Deidi, I am to my beloved. And magic happens. Initiating things also puts you in the driver's seat in a way. Because instead of being a victim or waiting for something to happen, you make things happen. And making things happen always open up new doors. So may you and your loved ones, and may you and all those that are close to you, may each one of us experience a true Virgo, a true Psula Elul, one that is renewed, one that gives us a fresh approach like pressing the reset button where we can look at ourselves and everyone around us in new ways and indeed experience a love, an unconditional love, an absolute one that touches that very indispensable heart and core of who you are, that loving, beautiful, seamless entity connected to everything and to everyone, each of us contributing our unique energy, and together a synergy that creates a far greater and most beautiful cosmic symphony. Thank you so much, Simon Jacobson, with deep love and affection, especially during this month. Love to hear from you. Let's reciprocate. I to my beloved to me. Everyone should be blessed only with a beautiful, loving month, and a month that extends throughout the entire year and every possible way. So, with that, please share with others. What better way loving people is by sharing. And let them share with you. Love to hear your thoughts, your feedback, your comments. And of course, subscribe. Subscribe to our growing YouTube channel. Share with others so they can subscribe as well. Again, love to hear from you. And please stay in touch. Stay connected. Until next time, thank you.